Welcome to Pop Kannon. This is episode 27. My name is Jordan.
My name is Robert.
I'm Andrew.
Call me Ishmael. I mean, Brian.
So here we are, episode 27.
Oh, we're finally old enough to start regretting our choices.
We're this close to getting a career in a field that we got our degree in, but we're just probably not going to get there.
We're at that age when you have to actively start taking care of yourself, and it sucks.
Oh, yes.
But the problems have already set in.
It's a sad day. Sad day.
So, Jordan, what are we discussing today?
I'm so glad you asked, Andrew.
'Tis another installment of
S1E1. And the pilot episode that we are watching is actually a twofer. It was a two-part episode. Way back in 2004, we were talking about Lost.
15 years old. Wow.
Yeah, I can't believe that came out in 2004.
Starting off, the gimmick of the show is some of us have never seen this show before. So let's announce ourselves.
Reveal yourself! I've never seen Lost before.
I've never seen Lost before either.
Ooh.
I'm Spartacus.
So that leaves myself and Brian to have witnessed the show Lost before.
Yes, I have. It's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Did you watch it live as it was happening?
Yes.
Okay.
So I didn't fall into it until probably right around season 4.
Oh, wow.
My friends started letting me borrow the DVDs, and I would binge them. It was like one of the first TV shows that I was able to binge until I caught up to it. So
cool.
Yeah, I've had friends tell me to watch this probably for about 15 years now. And usually I just tune them out with alcohol.
Yep.
But like I had to do it for this. So
That-
I didn't,
That must be a lot of alcohol to tune out not just
years
one,
worth.
not just one person, but multiple people.
My very first experience with the show is when I would ride the school bus, because it was 2004, and I would listen to the morning DJs on whatever crappy radio station discussing every episode in detail, and desperately trying to not hear them through my headphones that I had in with my CD player.
Lost is a series, basically the brainchild of Damon Lindelof, J.J. Abrams, and Carlton Cuse. This
was really the first big, I would say, cultural drama for a long time. I think MASH had that kind of thing where, back then everyone was into it and everyone remembers the finale for that. But there were some shows here and there throughout like the 80s and 90s, like LA Law or there was one called 30-somethings or 30-something. But this Lost really was the show that kicked off all the scripted dramas that we now love and still watch and have watched since then. It really was a renaissance, if you will, of scripted drama thanks to Lost.
I agree with that to a point, but I think Sopranos was kind of first, but if you're talking about network TV, then definitely.
Yeah, I mean, Sopranos absolutely was earlier, but HBO, even back then, was not as big as it is now.
Right.
Yeah, and Lost reached a lot more people.
Definitely.
Yeah, because it's network.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Was it ABC?
Yep.
Yeah.
And really, Lost put ABC on the map. And then they had Desperate Housewives and all those shows also kick in. But Lost was really the one that brought ABC a lot of attention.
It revitalized network TV for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Made
brought
it
everybody back to network TV, I think.
What do they call that? Scheduled viewing, something like that. I can't remember the term, but yeah, basically, yeah.
I think network had dropped off at a certain point around when the NBC Thursdays died.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was just kind of like a big sunken in area until Lost came back in 2004. So
That's why I love that 30 Rock joke of Jack in his office with a thing on the easel that says, "Make it 1997 again through witchcraft or science." Like,
So what was everyone's initial opinion of Lost?
In totality of the 2 episodes, or
Yes. Like you just finished episode 2. Or part
Okay.
2, I guess.
I mean, that's how it aired. It aired as a
Yeah.
2-hour premiere, so
Okay,
it wasn't
that's fair,
broken up. It wasn't broken up like it is on the DVDs and on the streaming services.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
or Blu-rays.
I definitely liked it for the most part. I did have some issues with some of the stuff, but overall, I think where they left off at the end of that mega episode, or
Part 2.
the
I
second
guess,
part
yeah.
2 of it, I thought was good and interesting going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, it starts you off right in the shit with Matthew Fox
Yes.
waking up in the that was kind of cool though. A nice setting to open it up in that little bamboo forest, and he runs out, and the whole opening when it's just all the chaos. All I was thinking is somebody better get sucked into that fucking turbine. And you know what? It did, and it was great.
You maniac.
I've been watching a lot of horror movies.
Same.
Andrew's like, I want to see some fucking blood, or I'm shutting it off.
But I mean, right from the get-go, just they really grab your attention, and I would love to keep watching it, if I'm being honest.
Wow.
All I could think was, why would you send the only doctor out? Like, just why would he go on the mission into the jungle? I don't know.
He's a man of action.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's a natural leader.
I'm glad you worded it that way, because he is a man of action, and everyone
Oh yeah.
on that beach are people of inaction. He is the only person catalysting any sort of movement whatsoever, other than the people just running back and forth screaming like it's SpongeBob.
I mean, I don't think that's entirely accurate. We didn't see every single person. The action followed Jack. We see a couple other people here and there, in his path, but we don't see everything that's going on.
Yeah, and I feel like I'd be in like shock at that point too. Like, I'm sure people were hurt and didn't want to move, but then there's someone like Jack who his entire character type is like, I want to help people.
Yeah, it's just the juxtaposition of people completely not doing anything to him literally and figuratively putting out 3 to 4 fires in the first 10 to 15 minutes is just like crazy to me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and then there's the lifeguard that he meant well, but
Yeah.
you're blowing air right into her stomach, man.
Right.
Come on.
And then that kid immediately takes orders from the new guy.
But I
Go
mean,
get me. Just go do something else. And he's
I
like,
think it's a
fair
pretty.
enough, sir.
I think it's a pretty realistic depiction of people in a
traumatic event.
horrific traumatic
Yeah.
traumatic event. I think there are I think the majority of people would probably just shut down,
I definitely would.
and that there are people who wouldn't shut down but would be looking for a leader to follow. That's why being a leader is not a very widespread trait. I know, like myself, I hate leadership. I'm not a leader at all. I'm definitely a follower, or like if I were in the military, like a non-commissioned officer, where I'd be like fifth in command. Like I don't want to control the squad, but I would like to be able to make my voice heard. Like I think it was a pretty realistic look at that kind of situation.
And Brian, like you said earlier, it was very focused on Jack, and you were following Jack. So
Yeah.
Like he just solves 3 problems out of the gate for 3 completely different people, and I don't know. I just felt like somebody else on that beach in the 48 or 49 survivors that are there could have done something. He could have. I don't know. It just seemed weird that he was like over here, over here, over here, over here.
Yeah.
I got all of it. Everything's my problem. I've got everything fixed. That just bothered me.
Okay.
I'm trying to. was pretty much, it was like Jack, what was the one, Saeed?
Yes.
Yep.
He was actually helpful. Kate, she was being helpful. It seemed like there was a couple, like, you're right, only a couple people were really, like,
Active.
capable of action. Which, again, I mean, it was a traumatic experience, and it's, a lot of crazy shit going on. It would be unrealistic for everyone to hop up and be like, all right, let's do this. But
everyone is remarkably okay physically after a massive plane crash.
a lot of people
Except the
survived.
ones who are dead.
Yeah.
Do we see that many dead?
Well, it's a network television show, so you're not going to see a lot of mangled dead bodies. But yeah, you get the impression that there's quite a few dead people on that, in the plane and on the beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was still pretty violent. There
The
some-
guy getting sucked into the engine was not, it wasn't bloody, but yeah, definitely he got sucked in and he's dead.
Yeah, I mean, there was a lot of blood.
Yeah.
Like a surprising, especially 2004 network TV ABC. It was pretty violent.
Yeah.
I just want to know what happened to Jack specifically to get those 4 scratches on his face.
Well, they got the old man that's got the cool anime scar across his eye.
Well, not just the scratch on his face, but he also had that horrible cut along his back.
Yeah.
When he took his
gash,
shirt
if
off
you
over by the shore, I mean, they didn't focus on it too long to see it. It didn't necessarily look like it was just so, I don't know. That's where my issue with network TV just comes in, where I'm just like, it literally doesn't look that bad.
Yeah.
They didn't do much to make
Enough
it look
to
that
sell.
awful.
Yeah, fair.
But
And then he's like, oh, it needs stitches. And then random girl in woods is able to provide stitches. And suddenly they're like in love or something.
I mean, they're both extremely attractive people. So.
they are.
I mean, I don't blame either of them. I'm just saying, like, it's literally the first person he saw. He's like, you!
You, stitch my back.
Well,
Yeah.
he needed someone to stitch his back,
Yeah.
and she was there.
And she has fixed her curtains.
With a sewing machine.
Yeah. Did anyone else get a mental image of her putting
Yes.
Matthew
Of
Fox
course.
into a sewing machine?
That would have been hilarious.
He's just like, all right, you're doing a good job.
She pulls out a full-blown singer and a table.
It's hard, you got to work your foot on the thing. It's difficult.
So, Jordan, like you said, yes, I did watch, like you asked, yes, I did watch this when it came out in 2004, and it was really unlike just about anything that had been on TV up to then. Those first 10 minutes was like the most thrilling 10 minutes of television I'd seen ever. I completely bought into the chaos and the danger of the situation, with when the wing starts to collapse and you're like, yeah, there's gas in wings. That's right. Yeah. I loved that opening sequence. Just completely grabs you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was even noting when I just recently rewatched it, everyone does sound confused and scattered, and like they're not talking normally per se.
Yeah.
Like they're kind of acting strange, but it's because they're so jumbled up from everything that just happened.
Yeah, from being in a fucking plane crash. Yeah.
And I liked the flashbacks and the use of the flashbacks, and you get a lot of that throughout the show.
I think my biggest issue with the whole thing is just I can't stand shaky cam. And it looked like they just put the camera on a rope and just swung it above their head while they were running through the jungle. It's like there are certain times I'm like, I can't even look at this right now. I think there's a better way to get a disorientation or to disorient the audience than just violently shaking the camera as they run. I don't know.
So
I
that's
just don't
interesting.
like shaky cam.
That's interesting because I can't stand shaky cam either. But I didn't really get that with anything in that episode. Like, for me, a horrible example of shaky cam is Michael Bay in the Transformers movies, or most Michael Bay movies, or like what they did with the Taken sequels, like that shaky cam to me
Well,
was...
that's because Liam Neeson is like 75 years old and can't climb a fence.
Well, that's also the quick cuts, but I'm talking about the actual like shaky cam. Like,
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I didn't even notice the shaky cam in like the forest sequence, but it like when I first noticed it was the flashback on the plane. When it starts to like go down is like really when it doesn't seem like it seems like the actors are reacting to being told what's happening, and the guy with the camera is just vibrating it in his hand,
Very,
like
very
he's
Star
like he's
Trek.
making a cocktail.
Yeah.
That's what it looked like. Not that it was bad. I thought it sold the moment and what they were going for with the plane going down fantastically. I just I didn't notice it in the forest necessarily.
That's fair. I know there's one part in particular in the forest that Andrew's talking about. They actually, the way they shot that was they shook the camera and had the actors pretending to run, and they're just standing in place.
huh?
I remember hearing that on like one of the special features or whatever.
Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting.
So like it just made it seem like they were moving.
Yeah, my biggest issue is just the shaky cam, and there's one scene in part 2 and they get the transceiver to work and they're just keep like rotating the camera around everybody.
See, I thought that was super effective for suspense
I just
and
couldn't-
building that level of like what's going on, what's going on,
Yeah.
what's going to happen. I thought the camera rotation around them while they're doing that, it was good.
I think because it's something we've seen so often since then in a lot of different movies and so forth. Like you have to take in the context of when this premiered. This was 2004, and this was J.J. Abrams' second TV show, I think.
Yeah.
Felicity was his first, and Felicity was a kind of dramedy. It wasn't really a straight up drama. Lost is where he really cut his teeth for a lot of the stuff that he would eventually use in like the Mission Impossible movies and Star Trek, his reboot of Star Trek, and then of course Star
Super
Wars.
8.
Super 8, absolutely. But yeah, so I thought that was super effective as well. I loved all the decisions JJ made with this, with the 2-hour premiere. I thought it was expertly directed.
I agree.
And it really got me on board him as a director and as a producer and so forth, that I was interested to see what he kept doing after this.
So, transitioning out of that, let's talk about the characters. Who is everybody's favorite?
I like Jack. 'Cause I like he's kind of the archetypal hero. Like, we're gonna get this shit done. I don't know. I liked him. I was drawn to him as a leader. I liked pretty much everybody. Who's the one? Well, there's the one dude, the asshole, and he got the gun.
Sawyer.
Sawyer. He was an asshole. And then the Korean guy was just like a fucking asshole to his wife the whole time.
That is
But,
Jin.
Yeah, well, he's a douche. I liked everybody pretty much, but I think Jack was my favorite.
Favorite character? I guess I really liked Heroin Band Boy.
Charlie.
Charlie.
Because he's got a lot to unpack, and that's exciting.
Oh, yeah.
So I like that. He definitely... I don't know if they were like deliberately obfuscating what he was doing at the but in the very first flashback, I definitely noticed it was him running past them, seemingly towards the cockpit.
Yeah.
Which was like, oh.
Yeah.
And then obviously he had to go retrieve his heroin from the airplane bathroom, and it was still there. And so there's a lot going on with him, and I definitely liked that.
Yeah, I agree. Charlie was my favorite character the first time that I've seen it. Watching him interact with certain people the way that he does was always funny.
He was like, oh, I was puking. NBD, I was puking.
There's so many characters in this first episode that they just kind of throw at you.
Can we talk about the dog?
Yes.
The good boy.
That's Vincent.
What a great name for a dog.
So they had a dog on the plane.
Yes.
and is not a service dog.
No.
Was he in the stowaway compartment, the way they make dogs travel in a cage?
Yeah.
Probably.
And the plane crashed, and that did not get destroyed in any way, and he was just like totally cool.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
His cage was made out of the same material Black Box is made out of.
So Rob, you had an issue saying like 48 people didn't really seem that injured or anything.
I just feel like way more people survived than probably should have, and they're totally fine.
Yes. That's intentional.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And that gets explained.
Okay, no, that's fine. I just like
It's supposed I think the intent there was, wow, there's a lot of survivors here. And that's part of one of the questions and mysteries that the show brings up.
Planes don't crash with a lot of survivors. That's not how things work in
Especially
in
that
the world.
way.
Yeah.
so like forgive my not having seen it, but like the way Jordan and Brian have glossed over the fact that there's all these people on the beach because they know what happens. I'm like, how is nobody else taking offense to this? But you guys know what goes on, so that's fair. That's why I'm sitting here like, really? Nobody has a problem with 50 fucking people standing on a beach?
Well,
going, man,
But
we
it's
should have
also
been
television,
dead."
so you can't
No, I know. I'm
necessarily
just saying,
fault
like,
Well,
the show
the
for
whole
that.
the whole point of the show is it's not just a drama; it's a mystery. It
Yeah.
is a
Yeah,
mystery.
no, absolutely.
And it was sold as that, and that's what the commercials,
Yeah,
led up to it
yeah.
about. So, it is a mystery of, they went with Oceanic 815. That's the name of the
Yes.
the flight, and that was in the commercials. Like, what happened to Oceanic 815? So yeah, you're watching to find out what happened, and as that 2-hour premiere progressed, like, it's clear that the island they're on is not normal,
for several reasons.
and that the situation they're in is not normal either. Clearly, a lot of people survived a plane crash, which doesn't happen.
Right.
So there's suspension of disbelief that you have to put aside or buy into.
I
can't remember how that
noticed, like, I remember thinking, man, a lot of people did survive this, but it didn't really bother me. I know that there's a very convoluted story ahead of me watching this.
Accurate.
And so I was kind of like, yeah, it's probably something building to that. But it also had me, like, trying to pinpoint, like, every little thing. Like when Jack is talking to the one lady as the plane's going down, and I'm like, oh, well, did his mask not come down? He had to reach up. Okay, what does the mask have to do with it? Like, I'm already in this mode of, like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm trying to pick apart every little scene from the episode.
And that's, like, awesome, because at the time, there was nothing like this on television, like on network television. And this is one of those shows where the details matter so much. And now that I've seen the whole show in its entirety multiple times, like, I just recently rewatched the whole thing. And now that I've done that, I came back to episode 1, and I was, like, blown away at the sheer amount of stuff that they set up.
Absolutely.
And it's basically, it's like a microscope, and you're looking at something. And the whole show, the entire time, you're constantly zooming out, and you're getting more and more of the picture.
The
as
macro,
it goes.
if you will. Going back to characters, I would say that, trying to think back when I first watched it, I definitely liked Jack. I liked Kate a lot. Really, I liked, and it might seem a cop-out, but I really did like all the characters. And even Sawyer as the asshole, I kind of liked him.
He's a good asshole.
There was only one character that I absolutely did not like, and it was Shannon.
Yep.
And you're not supposed to, at least in these first couple
No,
episodes.
not at all.
But I will
Which one
be
is
honest.
that?
That's the annoying blonde girl.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought.
You're not supposed to, but I will be honest that as the episodes go on, I never liked her. I never grew to like her.
My
Some
second
people-
time around, I did.
Okay. Well,
So,
but yeah, for the entire time she's in the show, I didn't like her. So she was the only one I really just didn't like. But I did, again, buy into the fact that there are assholes in the world, and in those types of situations, they would just be thinking about themselves. So, Yeah.
Yeah, she was
I
she was especially grating. Just on every level. Like the fact that she's laying on a beach, presumably surrounded by dead bodies,
Soaking
and
up
she's
the rays.
sunbathing. Yeah, that's a disgusting human behavior.
Yep.
And you know, and then they were like, "Yeah, come with us on the thing to go make sure that the walkie-talkie worked." And she was like, "Okay, I want to go. I want to go on that." Just to prove her brother wrong,
Right.
who I definitely thought was the guy from The Boys playing the Deep.
Oh, that's funny.
Let's talk about some of the weird things happening on this island.
Polar bear.
Jordan, we have to be careful here because you and I are going to be very tempted to get into spoiler territory.
Yeah.
So we have to tread lightly here.
Remember when they shot a polar bear?
They did.
Yeah. There's a fucking polar bear.
And then I was like, "Where'd he get a gun?" And then they answered that immediately. So,
So were you pleased with that?
what the answer that where he got a
Yes, yeah.
gun? Yeah, okay. I could buy that. That's fine. That he saw it and took it.
So what was your
Sure.
initial reaction to the polar bear? To like realizing it's a polar bear?
Okay. Was basically my reaction to it. Because I guess why the fuck not?
I already knew that there was a polar bear.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah. I'm sure if I didn't know, I'd be like, is that a fucking polar bear?
Yeah.
I was like, that's definitely not the thing that grabbed the pilot out of the cockpit, but all right.
Charlie even made a comment
It
saying
definitely was
like,
not. Yeah, I know.
that's not it. So what about that? What did you think of that thing?
The end of the first part,
Yes.
quote
Yeah.
unquote, of the was definitely the thing that saved the viewing of that first episode for me.
Huh.
Because I, unlike Brian, did not like the opening hardly at all. It took until the flashback on the plane for me to be like, okay, I like this, okay. And then once they get to the plane and they get to the cockpit and they talk to the pilot, and then the pilot gets taken up by the. I liked that because it definitely lent like a what the fuck is happening kind of thing to it.
Yeah.
And then all the blood hits the window.
Yeah. Classic horror movie shit there. That was cool.
Yeah.
And then they find him in the tree.
Yeah, didn't even eat him.
What do you think it is?
What do we think it is? Well, I could go off of what I've heard about the end of the show.
Well, don't do that.
Which I guess really thoroughly disappointed almost everyone that watched
It
it.
did not disappoint me.
I wouldn't say it.
Okay.
I wouldn't say it disappointed everyone, but with
I didn't know. I said
Yeah.
most of the people that I've talked to or have talked to me about the show have told me verbatim, don't watch the last 2 seasons of it. Pretend
wow.
it ended.
Oh,
at
I
season 4.
completely disagree. Season
Yeah,
5
I
is my
agree, too.
favorite. And I'll put it to you this way, Rob. The way that we're comparing Lost to Game of Thrones for you, that's the way it is for me. So I feel like a lot of people just didn't get it. They missed the point entirely, and they were mad about certain things.
right.
Yeah. No, definitely. Because this is one of the shows that I trotted out in my example about the ending of Game of Thrones, where people didn't get what they thought they wanted,
Right.
and were just mad about that versus accepting what it actually was.
Right.
Because, like I'm saying, there's things from the pilot episode that start that they pay off in the finale.
Yeah,
Like different things, full character arcs, everything makes sense. Nothing really comes out of left field, and there's no really half-hearted explanations for things, in my opinion. Maybe for a few, but
Now, that's not to say that, Andrew and Rob, if you go forward with the show, that you won't be disappointed or you will be disappointed. It's possible you will be disappointed by the ending. It just depends. Out of shows like these, everyone wants something a little different with the finale, you know. So it's possible, but yeah, I agree, Jordan. I wasn't disappointed by the ending. I would say, you know, out of series finales that I saw, it was one of the better ones, definitely.
so coming back to the episode itself.
Yeah. What did you? We were talking about what they thought the thing was.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I know what it is just from, but there was a split second.
It's the Cloverfield monster.
Yeah.
Well, there was a split second when I was like, oh, is that a dinosaur?
For real, that's what
It does kind of look like the field that they were in Jurassic World.
For real, watching it, I was convinced it was a dinosaur, and I was like, I'm going to be okay with that if it is.
Yeah. If some guy just got snatched up by a T-Rex, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I guess maybe I don't think that my brain went to dinosaur at all. But like, I could see why you'd think that.
I would have even been all right with the robot dinosaur because I thought it might have been a robot dinosaur with all the mechanical noise.
There's an old man who wants everybody off of his island, working it like a mech suit, and it just becomes 6 seasons of Scooby-Doo.
And I would have gotten away with it too. If it weren't for you damn kids.
There's so much that this show has to offer, in my opinion. Like,
Yeah.
Does the little boy learn Spanish so he could read the comic book?
He doesn't need to,
Damn it!
but I don't remember.
Not that there's anyone there to teach him Spanish. I just thought it was funny that it was a Spanish comic book,
Yeah.
and his dad's like, "You read Spanish?" And he's like, "No."
It's the only comic book I could find, for fuck's sake.
Does he find his dog?
yes.
Oh, is he still a good boy?
His dog is God. I knew it. Confirmed. He can't interfere. He just watches. I knew it.
No, he's not. He's not God. He's dog.
Imagine how frustrated he must be.
He's just the watcher.
Yeah. Can you imagine a worse kind of hell?
What did you?
Interesting, Andrew. You brought it into these the supernatural there, huh?
What?
Maybe that's where the show decided to go with it.
Hey, man, somebody got sucked into a turbine. I'm fine. Like, whatever now.
Consider it paid off.
Yeah.
So
do
it's
whatever you want,
definitely.
I don't care.
I would definitely categorize this show in the realm of sci-fi
Okay.
a little bit.
Yeah, it gets there.
Yeah.
I think on Hulu it's outright listed as a mystery, but
Yeah. I definitely call it like a drama mystery.
Cross genre.
that's what JJ does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But in the best possible way. What did you guys
Yeah,
think
yeah.
of the French woman on the radio playing for 16 years?
She had a very nice voice.
Yeah.
That was very upsetting.
I thought that they did a good job building the tension there as
What
Shannon's translating it while Saeed's like trying to do the math.
While Sawyer is just yelling at everyone, being an asshole.
She says, "I'm alone now, on the island alone. Please, someone come. The others, they're dead. It killed them.
killed everyone.
It killed them
Yeah.
all."
Yeah.
Since the
Awesome.
transmission
So that's the
lasts
flight
30
attendant,
seconds.
right?
Yeah. Say what?
I said, so that's the flight attendant's voice?
No, or I don't know. I mean, it's just some French chick, and they've been broadcasting for 16 years, which is just that was pretty spooky. Actually, I did like that. I think that was a cool a bit of intrigue,
Yeah.
and it turns out that Sawyer was not I mean, he's kind of a criminal, I guess. But then we find out that the handcuffs that what's the little kid's name? Walt. That was another thing I really liked, that it turns out Kate, she was the one being transported back, so she's the criminal, but she doesn't know how to use a gun. So it might just be like for like a tax evasion.
There's different levels of criminal.
Yeah.
Well, they expand upon things a lot. Going forward, they usually, each episode centers around a character, and then we get more backstory
Right.
in a flashback. So
I did have an oh shit moment towards the end of the episode when you discover that our dashing hero is working to save the guy that had her in handcuffs.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was like, when he sat up, I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, if you right when you first see Kate as she's walking, she's rubbing her wrists,
wrists.
and you can see that they're bruised and chafed.
Really?
Yeah.
And that's when Jack's like, put stitches in me.
Right. No, Jordan, I'm glad you brought up the flashbacks and that how
Yeah.
pretty much every episode is for one of the castaways. And that was, again, Lost was really one of the first shows to do that, where every episode is kind of about one character. And so you'll get multiple episodes per year, since it's a 24, most of the seasons are 24 episodes, or half the seasons are 24 episodes, where you'll get multiple episodes a year about the same character. But yeah, this is like, as much as like Game of Thrones is a great character show, this is the character show, the character study show. Like, these characters we take deep dives into the vast majority of these characters. It's great. So if you love characters,
like that.
Yeah, if you love character studies, please keep watching.
Yeah, and the good thing about this kind of show is, like, you'll go from hating characters to loving characters, and then from loving characters to hating characters.
Yep.
They did a really good job throughout the entire series messing with your emotions, and then, like, who could you trust, who could you not trust?
Absolutely.
So basically, they created the show after the success of Survivor, right? Like, that's like they were like, "Oh, this would be a good idea to do as like a drama."
I think that was part of it, yeah, because Survivor started in like 2000, and I would not be surprised if the success of Survivor kind of inspired this. Yeah,
because I kind of like, it was just an offbeat thought in my head while I was watching it that I was like, they probably saw how successful Survivor was, and we're like, we could do that.
Yeah,
we could do that, make it like interesting,
right?
Because Survivor is like patently not interesting.
Oh, hey, hot take.
Hot take on a show that came out 19 years ago.
Well, I didn't have a podcast then, and I have one now.
It's still on the air.
I know.
Unfortunately.
For fuck's sake, dude.
All I can think about is the Daniel Tosh joke where he's like, "You're a game where you're trying to survive where people already live."
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the Survivor element is definitely there. I think that in a post 9/11 world with the plane crash, I think that was tapping into that, nightmare scenario. I know after watching Lost, anytime I take a plane ride, I think of the show. Can't help it. Anytime there's turbulence, my mind goes to someone getting tossed up to the ceiling of the plane,
Dude, like 60% of the people on that plane got hurled into the ceiling.
It was like 2.
Fasten the fucking seatbelt when the pilot tells you to.
But people don't do it.
No, they don't.
That's like a realistic thing, I think.
It is.
Yeah,
People are
that's
like,
dumb.
nah, I
They'll
don't
get
need a
hurled right into
seatbelt.
the ceiling.
I fucking
Yeah.
know better than that fucking pilot.
What does he know?
With fancy degrees.
I was
Book
just talking
learning.
to someone, and they had said that on a flight that they took, someone fell out of their seat because of turbulence.
Good.
Stupid fucking idiot.
Good.
Well,
I
I mean,
hope it hurt.
there have been. Oh god, it was just a few years ago. There was like a couple flights in the span of a few months that had like very drastic drops in altitude, and there were people who were launched up to the ceiling because they didn't have their seat on. Like it fucking happens.
Gravity, what a concept.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And then I also thought of when they were speaking to the pilot and he was telling them like what he tried to do to reroute it.
Oh, yeah.
I definitely thought of the Malaysian flight
Yup.
that is still missing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he was like, "Yeah, we were 1,000 miles off course. They're definitely looking for us in the wrong place." And I was like, "Fuck, we've heard that. I've heard that recently.
Yeah.
That is a real thing."
So that's
that-
when that came out, that news story broke. I was like, they're on the island.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were prescient about that. JJ was. Maybe JJ knows where that flight is.
My God.
It's all just promotion for a movie.
I just took my glasses off in a really slow manner. My God.
So, Andrew, what did you think about the we're 1,000 miles off course, they're looking in the wrong place?
Oh, that fucking sucks.
Nah.
I mean, I kind of figured
break,
it would
bro.
be something. Yeah, I kind of figured it'd be something like that. Just how else are you gonna stretch the series into however long it was? That or they even showed it. There was some other interference, like something like that was going to keep rescue crews away for however long. immediately have the pilot get ripped out and torn up was a nice little follow-up. They're like, oh, we're all really bummed. We're thousands of miles away, and then here comes maybe Dinosaur to kill this guy. I liked that whole scene.
Yeah. I liked how they had to crawl up the fuselage.
I liked it, but, I mean, it was tense the way they were doing it.
I just don't know any other way to put this, but, like, they really do a good job on the characters and explaining a lot of things and why they're acting the way that they do.
Yeah, and you know, not giving you specific spoilers, but you know, the way that Game of Thrones was viewed as, oh well, you know, boy, it just discards characters at a moment's notice. You know, there are those memes where J.K. Rowling will be like, oh, and I really labored over killing this character off, and George R.R. Martin's like, oh, that's cute, you're cute.
Yeah,
well,
yeah.
this show first, this show first really started that. Not maybe started it, but really, you'll see if you continue to watch that you're going to lose some characters that you like, you know. So
Well,
it's a little
good.
cutthroat sometimes.
I mean, that's good. That's good drama.
Yeah.
You know.
I wouldn't expect anything less from a Survivor drama based on everybody landing on a fucking island that needs to survive.
And they need to outwit and outlast.
But who, at the end of the series, Brian, was the ultimate survivor?
And who did they vote off?
Well, it doesn't sound like Sawyer's got many people in his corner, so he might be the first to go, unless he makes an alliance with someone who's strong.
God damn it.
Maybe that backgammon fella. Huh?
Oh yeah.
Huh?
I hate
We
Survivor so much.
We didn't even get anything from that character, the bald guy.
Yeah, no,
We don't know his
anything
name.
about anime scar backgammon man.
But he even looked at Walt and said, "Do you want to know a secret?" And then we cut away.
Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, he did say. I was more caught up in like the history of backgammon.
Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. The world's oldest, really.
It's like 5,000 years.
Absolutely.
Jesus Christ didn't even.
Yeah, as soon as he was like older than Jesus, I'm like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
Nothing here is done without setting something up. I'll put it that way.
Right.
He's gonna try to convert everybody on the island.
But like even Jack's conversation with Kate earlier, he had mentioned the fear, only letting it in for 5 seconds, and then later on, she uses that.
Is that what
I thought you were going to talk about his surgery discussion.
Oh well, that also kind of comes back into play, but
If we don't see somebody's nerves spill out of them like angel hair pasta, I'm going to be very upset.
You're not going to
Ew.
see that.
He's
it's a
very-
network television show.
Rob's very mad at that line, which
Yeah, I know.
I
I
get
think
it.
that was such a garbage fucking piece of
I
dialogue. I'm sorry.
thought it was very descriptive. I thought when he said angel hair pasta, I immediately knew what he meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's like they wanted to say something, but because it was network TV, they weren't allowed to say how they wanted to, so they had to find a very creative way to make it visual for
Yeah.
you. I can't imagine typing that line into your script and being like, "That's the one." Just to me, I just felt like as soon as I heard that, I was sucked out of the show for a moment. It really fucking bothered. It stuck in my head so fucking badly.
No, but I get what you're saying as well. Like the line's just very out of place.
It's so out of place, dude. It was such like a ho-hum conversation, and then he just says that, you know? I was like, what the fuck?
So what did you guys think of the scene where the plane literally broke in half in midair?
I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
Show me death and destruction.
Jesus
And then
Christ.
that suitcase coming down and hitting the marshal in the head.
Yeah, dude,
That was
that fucked him up
graphic.
hard.
That was fucking when he's just kind of like, and blood starts pouring down.
I don't feel so
Again, something that absolutely goes through my head anytime I'm on a plane and there's turbulence, that I'm going to get a hit like that.
Are you also on the lookout when you sit in the aisle seat for anybody that has a large metal case, putting it in the overhead compartment?
That's one of the reasons why I always try to get the window seat. It's not the entire reason why I like the window seat, but that's one of the reasons why I like a window seat.
Brian does not want the Tesseract briefcase to slap him in the fucking head.
I'm not ready for that kind of responsibility.
Hey, I don't ever want to sit on the window seat that's next to one of the emergency exits. They're like, if you can't handle this move, I'm like, I'm moving.
So
I can't handle this.
what was everyone's favorite scene?
But I can even think back to when I first watched it. My favorite scene was it's the first night that they're there and the thing makes its presence known in the trees, and yeah, that's my favorite
that was
scene.
pretty spooky. That was spooky.
I'd have to say it's the
Angel hair pasta. Yeah, we know.
Yeah, definitely. I just love pasta.
Well, you are Italian.
Kind of what?
Yeah, I know. I think my favorite scene was when they were trying to get the transponster to work. And
it's not Chandler Bing. He's not a transponster.
Yeah. The spinning around the characters while they're trying to decode it and do math and whatnot. I like that scene a lot.
Nice.
That was like it ended in such a way that I was like, I kind of want to see the next one just to see where that goes.
And with that scene, what a great line to end the premiere on, where it's just Charlie looking like, where are we? Like, yeah, fucking accurate. Where the fuck are you?
Shit, I kind of like when they're, what Rob was saying, not the camera work, but I like that they were saying when you find out, like, someone else has been here or is at least nearby and they've been trapped there for 16 years. And, yeah, I think that was a good gut punch way to end it. Mm-hmm. Ends on such a downer, and you want to keep finding out what's happening. So, yeah, I think that or the turbine guy.
Yeah.
Well, the whole opening was fantastic. It caught my attention right away, and I got sucked in, and it was, there was action. You got to know.
Sucked into the turbine?
Yeah, there you go. Great. I think, actually, no, I'd say the opening. It was a great attention grabber.
If I had to choose one, I think it would be when Jack, Kate, and Charlie are walking, and then all of a sudden it starts to rain, suddenly, and then they go after the pilot. They have to climb up the entire front end of the plane in order to get to the cockpit.
That was definitely my favorite scene until the end of the second part.
Yeah.
That sequence was definitely my favorite until we got to the next thing.
Nice.
Which bodes well.
Yeah. So I guess that brings us to, would you guys continue watching the show based off of the 2-part episode?
Yeah. I'm intrigued. Also, there's been a bunch of planes flying over my house this entire recording, and it's freaking me out.
Oh, you're a dead man. I mean, spoiler alert,
or
all
you
of
just
us are,
might,
but,
or you just might inexplicably survive.
Yeah.
It's whatever.
Yeah. Do I get a cool anime star?
Would I continue to watch it? Yes. I don't know where in our list of shows that we have to go through it will fall for us, because Amanda was half in and out watching it as it was on, because she kind of just took a nap. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to see where it falls out. And now that I've cut the cable cord and have Hulu and Sling and Netflix and Amazon, I will probably need something to fill some time.
There you go. I can't recommend this show enough to people. Like I said, I just finished, I think it's my 3rd rewatch of the whole show. It's definitely one of my favorites of all time. Like top 1 or 2.
Yeah.
I've noticed that people that like this show really fucking like this show. I'd like to be one of them.
Yeah, I love the show. I've never rewatched it. I've got a lot of stuff tied in with this show. Like, I had my first girlfriend during the time of this show, and she was super into Lost as well. So there's I've got a lot of stuff tied in with it. So I don't know if I could rewatch the whole thing. I could definitely probably at least rewatch the first season, because I do think it's the first season of television that I ever got on DVD. I loved that first season so much. I think it's one of the best first seasons of television ever, and I do think the whole show was great. But this first season is so good.
Yeah.
It really just gets its claws into you. But Andrew, I want to just give you credit. You've shrewdly already figured it out that the show is all about that bald man. He's a proselytizing Christian who's going to convert the entire island to Christianity. Way to go. I don't know how you figured it out.
It was the anime star.
He saw the accident with the plane as God's calling to his mission, and
he's like, look how much cooler I look now with this.
They
scratch
were
on my face.
they were all saved, and Christ saves. So,
but I like
and as they accept Christ into their life, they vacate the island, and they go to heaven. Because that island is purgatory, I figured it out.
But yeah, no, I mean, this show was really one of the first shows where it's like the theories on the internet, like just so many theories, and they were all pretty much wrong.
As most theories on the internet are,
absolutely,
and thus leads to disappointment.
Yeah, but as you go through it, just enjoy the ride, please, because it's a ride.
I think the benefit to watching it in its entirety now, as opposed to then, is not living in the hype of it.
Absolutely.
Because I can tell you guys already know where I fall on stuff like this. When shit gets like this weird culty following that everybody's demanding that you involve yourself in, I'm out.
Right.
Flat.
No, I get that.
Just like it fucking turns me off immediately when there's like 16 people like, you don't watch the show, you don't watch the show, you don't watch the show, you don't watch the show. Like, fuck you. Get the fuck away from me. But not having to go week to week wondering what happened and being able to just snap through everything, I think will benefit the program.
Yes.
In that I won't live with, I wonder what happened, and I have to wait an entire off season to get to the next thing. And then reading shit, and then reading shit,
I'll tell you,
and then reading shit,
especially with this show and the cliffhangers. Good Lord, you're going to be glad that you can just go right to the next season.
Oh my God.
Whew,
that's another good point, Brian. This was one of the first shows that really made serialized television and storytelling like must see.
Yeah.
And like it started a lot of trends because of the big cliffhanging in the season finale. Like the premiere, you were counting down the days and the minutes until the new season premiered.
No, I can say like my earlier example of The Sopranos, while that's a series, I don't know necessarily that you have to. It's one of those that you have to watch everything before the next thing.
Right.
Like you do and you don't, because you need some of like the character story to move forward. But at the same time, some episodes are like completely devoid of moving a quote unquote story forward, and it's just about the character.
Right.
So
there are a very, very, very few episodes throughout the series where it doesn't move anything forward, that it's just a character study for characters that might only be in that episode. But they're very few and far between. It's very much a serial that there's the arc just keeps going through each episode.
Yeah.
And I do enjoy the idea that every episode, basically, you guys said, has a flashback that informs a character, as opposed to like a full chunk of a season that just takes place in a different fucking time, and then you go back to where you were at, like Netflix does constantly. Like I appreciate like working it in, like you're a writer, you know.
And every if you notice like the cuts back and forth, they were very similar positioning when it would cut, like specifically when Kate was standing there, and then it flashed back to her turning and looking because she was like alerted by the marshal on the plane.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like how they did the flashbacks within the episode, so that's good.
And I will say, the way that the show starts off with Jack opening his eye and seeing his pupil dilate, normally that's how they start each episode, is like it's focused on someone's eye, and then that'll be that character's episode per se.
Okay.
Interesting.
Because I did notice his pupil like retract crazy fast.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa.
One of the small little moments that I loved from that premiere is that we don't learn her. Do we learn her name? The pregnant girl? Do we learn her name in the
Claire.
No,
No, but she definitely shouldn't be eating raw fish.
well,
Yeah.
just a little bit. But
Is that urchin?
she had that moment with Jin where. So
Yeah.
her name's Claire. So Claire has that moment with Jin where the baby.
spoilers, dude.
where Claire feels her baby start to move for the first time in a day, and
Yeah.
he's like, no, I really shouldn't touch you because I'm married, and she's like, no, you're touching me, and it was just like a really cool moment where he's feeling a baby kick, and yeah, I just thought that was a really cool, it was a very human moment,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to be extra mean to my wife now.
Jesus Christ.
What did you guys think about Saeed's conversation with Hurley, talking about the Gulf War?
I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah.
And Saeed is a character right out of the gate that I liked a lot, just because I'm glad that the first show on TV to use a plane crash as a major plot point went immediately into look, there's a guy who's got brown skin. Is he a terrorist? Let's talk about it. They just went for it. They punched it in the face, and then you can choose where you want to fall in that. I'm sure scores of old white people who watched this show at the time hated his character from the outset, even though he probably wants to do good throughout the series.
Oh yeah, no, back then Trump was even tweeting about. No, I'm just kidding.
Before fucking Twitter was a thing. No, I thought Saeed was a really good character, and that conversation with Hurley was eye-opening, that there's more people in the world than just the people you agree with.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So speaking of just characters, what other characters gravitated towards you guys? That you thought were interesting or not interesting, maybe?
I do like Jack. I do like Saeed. Seems very interesting just because he's like, oh, I'm going to figure this out. I'm trying to help people. I'm not a terrorist. And it's I think he was actually probably the most interesting character.
Saeed's one of my favorite characters from the whole show. Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much liked Saeed, but who else? Kate I thought was really good.
Yeah.
And then you get this slight twist with she's not just some good girl or whatever. You don't know what's going on with her, but she was in handcuffs, so there's clearly a problem.
Yeah.
I also who was the boy's father? I can't think of
Michael.
his name. That actor is in later seasons of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, okay. Harold Perrineau. Yeah.
So I knew him immediately. So I immediately gravitated towards the guy because I've seen him in other stuff. I'm like, I know him from things. I like him.
Yeah.
So those three, I guess, or four, I enjoyed.
Were there anyone that you didn't enjoy?
The brother sister dynamic is annoying because it reminded me too much of my brother and sister, who just argue incessantly about nothing. Like we had talked about earlier, the girl was especially grating in that she just doesn't. They're gonna come, whatever. Yeah. That was annoying.
I'm not eating your stupid candy bar.
Yeah.
Chocolate, please.
I'm not sorting through clothes. I have mine.
You just survived a fucking plane crash. Get your fucking priorities.
She's a fucking sociopath. That's what it is. Yeah. She has no feelings for other people.
One thing I want to say real quick is that when the show came out, almost all of these characters, all the actors were no names. You know, like Terry O'Quinn, he plays the bald guy. He'd been in a lot. He's been in a lot of stuff. Harold Perrineau had been in the Matrix movies, and some other things up until then. Those were pretty much the two only big names, and not really huge names either.
Evangeline Lilly didn't count?
No, this was her.
Really?
I believe this was her first big acting gig.
Basically,
no shit.
Yeah, this made her. Same with Matthew Fox. I think he had been on Party of Five or something like that.
Yeah,
but
he was on Party of Five.
That wasn't a huge hit, you know. So even for this, that
with your demo.
But even for this, he wasn't a huge name. So I just Charlie was he's one of the hobbits. So
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
he was Merry or Pippin.
yeah. So, but again, most of the cast unknown, and it's great watching as the show goes on. Where the characters go and how big the characters get.
Yeah. I absolutely adore Lost.
Yeah.
The characters, all of them, they all serve a purpose. And we get more later on and, obviously less because Circle of Life and stuff like that. But
I don't follow.
you come to really care about these characters and these people, especially, like I said before, the ones that you didn't expect to necessarily. But everyone plays a part in the history of the show.
Wow.
You're all promising a really strong Shannon payoff here.
Originally, they offered the role of Jack to Michael Keaton.
Interesting.
Huh.
A little too old. Yeah, I had some very, very emotional responses to this show. Really, the first TV show that did that. So it'll be interesting to see as you guys watch this. If it gets you as much as it got me. So.
I mean, I really like, strong character-driven stories. And if this is, what you guys have said, sounds like it's
the
character-driven story. So I'm definitely intrigued by that.
Little fun fact here, Jack was actually meant to die in the pilot episode.
Oh, wow.
The part when they find the pilot, that was supposed to be Jack.
Oh, that's ballsy. Yeah. That probably would have taken a lot of people out of it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, you killed the guy I liked.
Would that have changed your opinion on it, Andrew or Rob?
I think that would have been pretty ballsy.
I think I would have been headlong into the show if they killed him off immediately.
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was thinking like a Ned Stark kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I would have definitely been like they set him up as like the guy who's solving all the problems like on the beach. So if he just didn't come back and they'd be like, "Oh, fuck." That'd be awesome.
That's why you don't send your only doctor out into the jungle.
Right.
And then they just find another doctor amongst the survivors named John.
So yeah. This was the pilot episode of Lost. Everybody's in on it. Eventually in. So yeah, let us know what you thought of Lost and if you think that they should continue watching.
Final thoughts. I thought it was good. I took umbrage with some of the dialogue and the opening. You guys all loved the opening. I did not. It's just a taste thing. I guess I don't know. But I thought it was good. Yeah. More death.
Yeah. More turbines.
God damn.
The fucking beach is lined with turbines.
As they make their way through the island, all they see is turbines. Turbines as far as you can see.
So I'm just curious about this one fact
turbine.
Before we continue. What do you want more out of the show in the concepts that they've introduced? Like, did you really lean towards one thing or like one version of the genre that it's trying to be? Like, were you more like, oh, I really like the character moments, or oh, I like the suspense, or whatever?
I think I much preferred the suspense.
Okay.
But that's not to say I didn't like the character stuff. When the suspenseful stuff started is where my interest started to peak.
Okay.
As opposed to where the character stuff was just kind of happening, and then I was like, okay, let's get to something interesting here. Okay, suspense. All right.
Andrew, what about you?
I'm definitely intrigued by the mystery aspect, and if it does go into a little more science fiction-y, mythical, what have yous, then I'm on board because I'm a sucker for that kind of fantasy stuff.
Any other final thoughts on the show?
I'll just say I'm glad you guys enjoyed it for the most part, and I'm glad that you are at least planning to continue watching. It'll be very interesting to talk with you more about this. So, yeah. I love Lost.
Yeah, I've got Hulu for a month.
Oh, just take the plunge already. God.
I probably will.
Yeah, I'm so happy.
Yeah.
I'm so happy that you guys liked it. I really hope that you do keep with it, because there's a lot of things that they introduce later in the season or later in the series that kind of blew my mind. There's a lot of good character moments. There's a lot of good suspense and mystery parts, and just they raise a lot of interesting questions that really make you think. So okay. I do hope that you guys continue with it, because I'd love to get your opinion on more of it.
Okay.
You'll be the first person I tell.
From the onset of this podcast, I've wanted to do a Lost retrospective or something to do with the show, but so I'm finally happy that we got to do this. So for Pop Kannon, thank you very much for listening. I'm Jordan.
I am Robert.
I'm Andrew.
And I'm Brian.
See you on the island.
With weird floating text.